Rihanna said that she couldn't hear me, so I apologize for everyone who didn't get to hear the introduction. Folks, welcome to the stream. My name is Mike D'Angelo, aka That Tellest Guy. Yeah, we had a lot of weird stuff going on over the past couple of days. We had the power outage that knocked out my Stream Deck software. So we were working downstairs, and I turned off the Blue Yeti up here because I didn't want the sound of the multiple fans going on up here to screw things up. But I figured we would go in there, celebrate a little bit with that fanfare that we missed yesterday. As much as I liked Rihanna's interpretation, I gotta hear that fanfare music. I put that button together for a reason. So, all right, this was our map that we were looking at yesterday. We're going to go straight into another map that's already complete. This is the Farmer's Blight dungeon. We also call it the Farm Burrow. And this is from our partner Becka Tigress. So she started us off with like a dark version of the map. So you can see we've got our little farmhouse over here. Let's check things out. This is kind of like 10-foot wide couches and everything like that, and I'm not going to complain about that. We have stuff that's that big. The table, maybe a little big, but it's a specialty table, so we'll see how we like those. These bookcases are about 7 feet wide. That's not terrible either. A little sewing machine down here. Let's see what we got. We got a pile of clothes. Chair. The chair's not too big. The table, again, is a little bit big, and this sewing machine is pretty gargantuan. I think we were talking, me and the creator, about like maybe Rihanna really loves the idea of a humongous tub, but we brought it down from like a 15-foot tub to close to a 10-foot tub, and changed the bed. We'll I feel like for the most part we can let things go. Like these aren't like tremendously gigantic or anything like that, so I think we should be okay. We don't have to make any changes there. The map itself is gorgeous. A lot of cool things were done to this map. We got our little army of sunflowers over here. Oop. Some schmutz on my mouse pad. Some appropriate tree coverage and stuff like that, and then you got this massive hole over here that leads into our underground area of the set. If you want, we can do the favor of turning off the filters so that we can see kind of like a nice day view of the map. And if Matt was looking, he would say thank you because we turned off the grid. See everything real snazzy. You can see this is where Farmer Joe gets to his field, and all these summer crops just kind of tore up. You can see a little bit of like ghosting from this stuff here, so that might be something worth trying to clean up a little bit, perhaps. I'll have to play with that a little bit because I just noticed this the first time. You wouldn't notice it too much with the filter on, I don't think. Well, I mean, even so, you see a little bit of it there. And I don't know if the hole itself, I don't think doing anything with it is going to, like moving it up a layer or anything, isn't really going to do anything, because I wonder if that stuff is on the top layer. It's not. So it's kind of weird that it's coming through. There's a tweak that you can do. Let's try and subtract with the mask real quick. Nope. I could add with the mask. Kind of invert it a little bit. So add, and let's do... There are no mask effects, so that's good. Now you can clearly see the different kind of flooring and everything that we have down there. So what we're going to do is, let's go to the foreground layer, and we'll use some of this black, throw that together there, and that'll help to kind of clear up some of that stuff. And like I said, you still see it in some places. I think for the most part, doing something like that will help clean it up. I'll have to play with it to some extent. But the nice thing is that we have a pretty easy fix in play that we can throw together there. Let's take a real quick look. I don't usually do this for like the variant layers, but let's take a look at the other layers too. So we have the second floor of this dungeon. So this is pretty expansive. We've got, I think, got some color adjustments here that we can take off, so it looks pretty nice. I think some of these are sci-fi assets. They really look nice. Like the way that Becka put this all together, it looks very nice. I think you descend deeper into the hole this way, and I think this is where you would land, I believe. I could be wrong. And then let's take a look one step further down. So we'll go into the third floor. And I don't think that there's any filters on this one, so we should be okay. So I think you drop down here, you can make your way over into this direction, and then you've got some, what is this, glowing spawn. So this is where like myconid creatures could be or something like that. Very cool way of putting all this together. She did a really good job with this trio of maps. It's cool because it can be like a fun little off the wall, you know, side quest that really has no bearing on the main quest, and having a map like this really gives you the flexibility to do that kind of stuff. So I'm very happy with this. Alright, what we're going to do is we're going to actually make a new map. We're going to go to our battle map size template, and real quick, I had an idea for a map. I want to see if I can get the name of it. It was... I'm looking at the sci-fi stuff, and I need to be looking at the Haunted Shores of Japel Brae is what I'm going to call this one. So we're going to clone this. Haunted Shores of Japel Brae. So really what we're going to be looking at is not necessarily like the... it's not going to be a beach or anything like that. We're going to be looking at something that feels a little bit more like a river. So let's start with we're going to do an ad. And I'm going to clean this up as we go, because I'm not really a huge fan of the way that I'm doing it right now. But the reason that we're doing this is because Inkarnate just did a new feature. It doesn't look like they're even talking about here on the screen. But they changed some stuff with their mask tool. And let's do... You can see, like, you used to have, like, everything down here. And mask effects used to be somewhere else. Looks like we can bucket fill some of our stuff now. I'm going to try stuff real quick just because... Yeah, that's pretty neat. Alright, so let's do a smooth brush. And maybe we'll trim that down a little bit. So the way that I imagine this map going is, like I said, it's going to kind of feel more like a river. We're going to have a river going across this area, and then there's going to be kind of like little sort of like peninsula juttings over here, and then it's going to come in this way. I don't even know really how to describe it, but the idea that I have is that you're going to see stairs that are descending into the water, and it's kind of like this is where you would dock like a small vessel. Not like a boat or anything like that, but maybe like a canoe or something along those lines. So let's try and see if I can't get this down pat. So we kind of want to like loop it in that way. Come over here. It might be that the mask that I'm using is way too big right now. I might have to play with that a little bit more. Let's go to the bucket fill. Click that. See if it fills in the rest. Very nice. The mask effects is good. I don't think that we have to go too crazy about that kind of stuff. Let's see if... It's not going to do anything crazy down here. Like, I'm not going to be able to fill anything there. We do have a fill background layer, so I could do like that if I really wanted to. Let's do the brush size and fill. Is that not doing it? Oh, that's the brush size. I need it to be the texture scale. Don't mind me. So we'll do that one more time. It looks like it's still doing it at the full... Oh. Don't mind me. There we go. Okay, so that does fill at the appropriate brush scale. Let's do... There's the water stuff down here. Let's try this texture here. Okay. And I am really going to have to clean this up a little bit. But what we're going to do real quick is test something. What is this? Paint in. That's kind of interesting. I mean, that added, not subtracted, but... And it looks like it's 2 steps, technically. Let's do a subtract and paint in and see what it does. Alright, so it only does a paint in on the added mask, so it's not going to do us any huge favors there. Let's do an add real quick. So we're just going to do kind of a little island in the middle of this, and we're very likely not going to use this here, but I think what we're going to do is we'll end up doing a 2-part map here, and we'll end up making this one of the bonus maps for the upcoming Kickstarter that we're going to be running for Volume 2 of Maps of Tellest. What we're going to look at here is there's a new move area tool. So we've got the big area up here, but down here is our new island. And if I wanted to, I could move that to a specific spot in the area, hit apply, and it moves that island. So if I moved it down here, if I thought that this made more sense, it's right up there with like the line and shape tools about like how like incredibly interesting this becomes. Now you'll notice there's other things that you lose by doing it this way, because I have something down here that I lost. So you have to be careful with this new tool. But as I mentioned, what we're going to end up doing is there's going to be like little islands in this river. So it has to be like, you know, carefully navigated. And what we'll do is once we have this doubled up, there will be like maybe another island or something down here. I'm not quite sure what it's going to look like yet, but we'll be able to construct our little mini islands that are in that river and then move them around as needed. So you're not stuck going, all right, I have to completely delete this and move it over. And the best part is you can do just ooh, I hear the ice cream man. That's just a little in joke. The best thing is you could fully furnish, quote unquote, that island with all kinds of stamps and everything like that. You could move the island, move the stamps later, and everything is still in perfect place. Like, it really is a pretty game-changing sort of moment. So let's keep stepping things forward. Let's go to the mask tool one more time. We're going to go back up here and we're going to subtract some of this away because it is a little bit too clean, and I'm going to do some little bumps and stuff. I know that it's going to come up that way. Let's do, well, I'll tell you what. Keep doing what we were doing, but we'll do it on a kind of curve like this. Back down, and let's do the same thing from the other side, and that little kind of like bumpy surface as we're kind of moving up and down gives it a more natural looking appearance. And what we'll do is the same thing that we were doing with the jungle map, where we have kind of the cliffs underneath, because it'll give it some depth and stuff like that. little bit further, and there we go. And I think what we'll probably end up doing is the same thing we did with the jungle as far as the mask effects go as well. We'll probably, if we go into the mask effects, we'll probably lose the stroke. We might keep the ripples, because I think the ripples will look nice. Let's do a little bit of testing real quick with the cliffs, just to make sure that everything looks nice there. There's another thing or two that they have that we'll practice with on this map, as far as like new features that they unlocked. I can hear Luna down there losing her mind. Let's do... I feel like 100 is okay. These cliffs we can kind of smush down as we go. So let's do just a test real quick. We're going to flatten that to the background, and it drops into the water pretty nicely. And as we are oft to do, we change the layout of these cliffs to, or I'm sorry, the terrain to better reflect the the shape of the cliffs that we're doing. So we might end up like really changing this little bumpiness that we had before. We had this guy, I think. So let's do another run of that right there, and we will do something like this around here. And that means, of course, that we need something small to bridge the gap over here. Okay, something like that. We're just doing a little bit of testing real quick. Let's go over to our mask. We're going to add another little bit in here. We might even be able to do kind of like a double up. Like we can lock these ones down and then do another set of cliffs underneath, so that the other cliffs are the ones that are kind of waterlogged. But we'll have to see how it looks, because you can see some of the ripples here and there. So we'll have to kind of play it by ear and see how it looks. Trying to make sure that any of that blue is gone from where we're dropping these cliffs in. None of this terrain is going to look the same either. We're going to make some changes. Make sure it looks the right way. These ripples should look a lot nicer as I bring this mask out here. Alright, let's do another practice thing real quick. We're going to try and do some stairs. Let's see. Brianna said, I had to stop listening to film when she went insane. And I completely get that. You are utterly forgiven. Alright, so we're going to do some slate stairs here. We're going to try and drop it down to 30 because that's our magic number. Let's try and maybe we'll drop it down a little bit more so it fits into these tiles, and we might even be able to snap to the grid. Maybe not. It doesn't want to play the nicest way I want it to, so we'll just do it ourselves. So we're going to have stairs that drop down here on the map. And you know what? I don't even have to do it this way. We're going to come in here. We're going to go to the advanced settings. We're going to go to transform, and we're going to... you know what? We do kind of have to do it that way. Don't mind me. Being stupid. So we're going to make this set of stairs come out maybe about 20 feet wide. And let's see if we can't find like some railing and stuff. Oh, you know what? There's such an empty area up there. Let's just go crazy with it. Do that right there. That looks pretty good. You know what? This one's a little low, which means that one's a little low. Those ones are good. That one's a little low. That one can afford to come up, so that means that one can afford to come up, and then that one, maybe one more little bip. Bip is a technical term from the Swedish bippu. That is a complete fabrication and a lie. Don't mind me. Alright, Alright, so we're going to bring that down. We're going to bring that further down a layer. Maybe we'll just have the... check it out. Maybe something like that. And probably can afford to come down a little bit more. We want to make sure that we don't have that line that we see right there. Alright. And then what we're going to do is try and throw these to the background. And if we go back to our water, what we should be able to do is, with the opacity tool, if we do a background pass, let's actually make sure that that's working the way that we want it to. There we go. So you can see we're starting to layer our stairs with the water a little bit. We'll probably do a little bit of a cleaner job than this, but I'm just doing some practice. That, I think, is going to look pretty nice. And then what we need to do is not be on the brush layer, we need to be on the stamp layer, and let's find a railing if we can't help it. So we've got, now these stairs have railings, but I didn't want to use that railing. I wanted to use something different. So let's try and just do rail. I did that myself. We've got the Gothic railings, which is not quite what we want. Let's try and do, these are just slate stairs, so let's see if we can't look for slate and find something that we like. Certainly doesn't look like it. Stone, so we'll just use stone walls perhaps. So the idea here is that this stone wall, it might descend into the water there. What we'll do, just bump it up here a little bit. But not quite as, you're not going to see it submerged. So that's pretty nice. And then what you would do is get a little boat, these little core ones. Have a couple of boats up here. Whoever just landed or the player party can have noticed that these are there, and that could lead to a question of, you know, who was here before us, that sort of thing. Maybe what you would do, again, we're trying to say that this is haunted, so you could use the, where is my gloom filter? Got the God rays, gloom and doom, something like that. So give it a look like that. Maybe give it like a more Japel Brae in my mind is kind of like a slight colder region. So maybe we would do some cooler tones instead of like this, you know, brownish green that we have here. Maybe we'd have kind of like some grayer colors, something like that. I don't know for sure, but what I do know is we're going to real quick go over to our sponsors for the night. So we'll listen to a couple of those. We'll come back. We'll do a little bit more work in this area. Let's see. And now, a word from our sponsors. A spectacular whirlwind adventure that mystifies as much as it enthralls readers, Raymond Dwayne's Quinine is the sort of epic fantasy that most people would have a hard time dreaming of. Yet, the author has done much with this universe, establishing foundational pieces of rich lore, religious history and prophecy, and wrapping it all together in a package that makes it feel like some of the best pulp fantasy of yesteryear. Indeed, there is a way that Quinine is presented that makes it feel as though this hero has been around for decades. Despite the classic feel, though, it is also wild in its imagination, with blended species bringing a sense of alien majesty to the world, which just so happens to be the massive hand of the goddess. If you'd like to learn more, head over to the Tellest website, where you'll be able to find our promotion for Quinine by Raymond Dwayne. Take elements of a treasure hunting road trip, foreboding dark magic and swashbuckling adventures on the high seas, and you've got a recipe for David Smith's debut historical fantasy, Raise the Flag. With prose that will immerse readers and an alternate history of pirate escapades ripe for exploring, this book is captivating throughout. A great cast of characters and enjoyable settings round out the components necessary to make this an addicting read. And though it's presented as a standalone adventure, there are enough ways forward to create a sprawling world of additional pirate tales. If that has piqued your interest, don't wait. Check out our promotion for David Smith's entertaining story, Raise the Flag, on Tellest today. So at this point, I have like 3 versions of the Stream Deck software running at the same time. So a lot of fun there. Matt doesn't realize that I'm streaming, so he keeps on sending me messages, and he's ruining my one Stream Deck. So I've got it on my Stream Deck itself, the tactile pad. I have it on my iPhone, and I have it on my iPad. And there's a lot that you can do with the Stream Deck. So I use like one device to control the pages of the other. It's a lot of fun having something like that. Any woozle. All right, let's grab these stairs one more time. Paste them back in play over here. Again, we have to move them underneath these stairs. We'll use these ones to kind of help us identify where they're going to be. Should be good, I think. You know what, I am noticing we get a little bit of losing a little bit of it on the lines over here. Let's do that so we get rid of the show grid. And let's scooch things over as they need to be scooched. Actually, real quick, I might even be able to throw that there and then do, what is it in here? Multiply? Well, it would help if I was looking at the right one. Screen? Is it screen? I can never, ever remember. It's not screen, that's for sure. Lighten kind of looks good. Yeah, you get rid of the lines that way. So I think maybe that is what we'll do. Because we want it to look like one unbroken piece of stairs. Oh, you know what? I think I need one more over here. Let's get a little bit of lines here and there, but it's not terrible. And then let's grab all of those one more time. Actually, we'll delete these ones here. Grab these guys. Paste it down, and then if we move it to the next layer, again, have to drop it down so it's beneath the stairs. And we just drop it into place as long as it's not coming over there. And then let's do one more time the flattened background. We get a little bit of the shadow there. Let's do... I don't want it to cast a shadow there because we're going to kind of do our own thing. So if we go into the brush tool one more time, we're going to still use this water pack here. We're going to grab this, and what we'll do is change the opacity to 33. So we'll grab like everything over here. And do one application. So you can see that's where the water comes up highest. We'll move it down so that we get this next step a little bit more. And then this last one, pretty darn covered in that water. However, I'm also noticing kind of blends in a little bit weird over here, and I don't know whose fault that is. It might just look a little off because I've got it. No, I think it looks weird. Because it shouldn't matter having that. I should be able to... You know what? I didn't have it all the way up. There we go. That looks nicer. I don't know where that came from, because this should have been pretty full. It's helping to do a nice blend now, so I won't complain too much about that. Up here. Alright. Looks good for now. Let's do a quick save, because 126 is a decent amount. Let's head over to our Quantum Quest preview, because we have at least 2 players, I think, figured out for next week, so let's take a look at that. Now that our Twitch channel has reached affiliate status, we can start to do some really cool things. One of them is inviting you to play our tabletop dungeon diving game, Quantum Quest. Using our channel points, called Quest Coins, you can queue up for one of our forthcoming Tabletop Thursday games. In addition, as we amass more followers, we'll continue to add new ways for you to use your Quest Coins. Join us and see if you can escape the living dungeon. Alright, we're back. So you can't, even if a mask is already there, you can't really do anything with that mask paint in feature or anything, as best I can tell. So we would have to come in here and kind of manually do whatever we wanted to. It's not the worst thing, because I can come in here and I can make these adjustments myself. Zoom that in with the brush. Make sure we're doing the foreground, not the background. And kind of do this clovery little look. We're not going to keep it that way. I'm not a huge fan of that look. It looks a little too on the nose, so we will take that back, but that is the way that you could do that. Let's go back to the classic style, the stuff that they set you up with, and we'll just go to the correct texture scale. We are going to be adjusting this as well, so we don't have to go too crazy. But I feel like I've gotten so used to making the texture 30 instead of 100, so it's almost jarring not to have it that way. Let's do, there should be another thing that we can do with alignment. I don't know where that alignment tool is, but let's try it out with some trees. So if I got a couple of trees over here, very small compared to the trees that I usually make, so we'll grow these suckers. And now if I grab these all at the same time, where is that alignment tool? Ah, there we go. Align and distribute. So I can align them to the left so they're all stacked on each other now. Center them horizontally, so if I wanted them somewhere in the middle of something. So here, let's look at this. We've got... It's kind of peculiar. Alright, I've got these four and I want them to be on the side of the map. So I want them to be relatively close in a line. What we could do is center horizontally. There we go. So we got our nice little line there, and then we can throw them into place against the border. Something like that, if we wanted them to be perfectly aligned like that. Similarly, up here, if we had them kind of out of order, and we knew that we were going to be doing something on the top layer, go to align and distribute, and then we could do center vertically, and then again, move them up here. If we wanted to bring them up to the highest one, I believe we would just do align top. Yep, so that'll bring you to the furthest up there that you got. And I think, I mean, I can't see myself doing anything too crazy with this, but it is really nice for like making your borders and things like that. So I do see some value in it, and that's kind of nice too. Like you can distribute them vertically, is that it doesn't randomize. So I'm not sure how it figures all that out. And distribute horizontally. I don't know. It's peculiar. It's definitely something that that we can play with later. Let's go back down here. We're going to do a couple more of the cliffs and stuff. Try and round this out rather nicely if we can. And as you can tell, I will talk up the line and shape tools until I'm blue in the face, but I do like the old clip, like the terrain, so I don't mess with that too much. I usually keep that the way that it is. Okay, we do want to try and make it so that this terrain looks like it kind of just blends into the stairs and then stops. Let's go back to here and go into our ads so that we can keep on moving this here. What I'll very likely do is kind of go through this with a fine-tooth comb using the stylus and everything like that. It'll help me make sure that things are nice and clean. Let's see, we got a little bit of blue down here, I feel like. Otherwise, we would have more ripples. Oh, but you want to make sure that you don't overstep. Here, so a little bit of a mess to clean up here. So I definitely do not want to use like this greenish look because we have so many things that look like that, and it's not conducive to what I'm trying to do with all of this. If I put that there, you'd see the green, so we can't do it that way. We might even want to have it like that so that you don't see so many natural ripples there. Something like that works out. Let's see. Do a couple more cliffs. So as I mentioned, this will be kind of a two-part map. I mean, most of our maps end up that way anyway, but to start, like when we do get ready to do the next Kickstarter, this will be one of the day one backer maps. So you can only get it. I mean, you can get it other ways, but the only way to get it for the Kickstarter immediately right off the bat is to make sure that day one, and you're getting it at a cheaper price as well. Last time we did this, when we had people doing it, it was you would end up saving money and getting 5 extra maps because we want people to help us, build momentum. So that is kind of how we ended up developing that. So you'd get this map, both maps, along with 4 other maps or like map clusters, I'll call it, because we would definitely need. I want to make those maps special. I want to make them kind of snazzier than your normal map and things like that. And that's the same one twice. I don't want to do that, but we can do this one down here. It's a nice shape for this little guy over here. And let's grab one of these guys. Throw that maybe right around there, and then let's see what we can do. That's the same one twice. Don't like doing that if I can avoid it. Again, that one needs to be underneath the stairs so that it has a nice clean look to it. And let's grab this one more time perhaps. Blow it up a smidge. That kind of, that bit right there, they kind of connect a little bit. And we'll throw something up there, like a bush or something, to make it pop a little bit. And let's go back into our mask. We're subtracting where we need to add. So let's do something like that. The ripples down here are okay. And we do want to subtract. There's this tiny little bit down here that we can get rid of. Tiny little bit. All right, we're coming up on the 3/4 mark, so we'll be wrapping this this session up relatively soon. I did not expect to work on this map this week, but we had the mask tools that I wanted to play with, and I thought that this would be a good map to do it. So I don't know how much work I'm going to be doing on this in the stream. You know, like we might be going back to the Furnace River map next week. But I do kind of want pieces of this to be a surprise when we get to it. But it is nice to have something that the day one backers will be able to see. Like, hey, this is something that I already worked on for you. So here's a preview of what you got. Now the one bad thing is I had not originally planned on this to be one of the day one backer maps. So I'm gonna have to figure out what's gonna replace this in the lineup that I had, because this was like map. Let's check that out real quick. This was map 139, and that's not including like any of the partner maps or anything like that. So I'm definitely going to have to figure out the replacement for this map. Nope. Matt says, hang out real quick after you stream. Sorry, I was yelling at Reggie. Did you respond? I did not. Matt says I gotta hydrate. He thinks I got a scratchy voice. Yeah, we'll do that, and then I can clone out some of the maps for you. Make sure we got all them ripples there. And then I just real quick want to go to subtract all the stuff that we don't need. I don't think that's coming through. No, that's fine. Hit me up on Discord after this, I guess, Matt. That wasn't necessary. A little bit there. I think we should be good everywhere else. Yep, looking pretty good. Alright, for a like 15-minute job, doesn't look too terrible. I like the concept of it. And like I mentioned, we're going to extend this map and play with the new tools. And see what we get. And like I said, this is probably going to be looking a lot different the next time you see the map, because we're going to try and make it cold. We might even like frost over the water a little bit, because Japel Brae has that kind of like mystical, wintry look to it. Not tremendously so. It's not like blizzardous conditions or anything like that, but it has like that cold, lonely feel to it. I think a little bit of like a dusting of snow might help to sell. But let's we'll do a save, and I'll switch over to our show closing screen. So folks, on the screen right now, you should see all the places that you can find Tellest content out there on the internet. Tellest.com is a great first place to start, because it will bring you to our website, where you can see all of the other projects that we're working on for the most part. Rihanna says, Chalky Milk, my dude, and I think Chalky Milk sounds like a great plan. If you want to go to our premium sites, you can go to patreon.com/Tellest to find digital versions of our stuff. We have, I think at this point, we are officially over 100 maps in Patreon. And I think maybe by the end of next week, we'll be over 300 variants. So that's pretty cool. If you want to, and also Tuesdays and Thursdays, we have art pieces that we put up on the Tellest Patreon as well. But Tellest.etsy.com is where you can get physical versions of your Tellest stuff. So we have, I believe it's 56 maps now on in physical form. We've got those maps in 18 by 36 inch sizes. They look really great. They're like big enough to fit most computer desks without like being super gargantuan. They wouldn't fit on mine. Mine's little, but it's a cozy little nook corner one. Any whizzles. You'd be able to get those. You'd be able to get stickers, bookmarks, posters, and Brianna's one-of-a-kind handcrafted magic wands. You can check out more of those on tiktok.com/@weirdwitchwands. You can also check out tiktok.com/@talesofTellest. That's where our doggies have their TikTok channel. I was kind of the subject of one of our videos today because there's a crossover between me and Ryan Reynolds that you might want to see there. And the last two places that I'll bring your attention to, youtube.com/@worldoftellest, which is where you can find these videos after Twitch knocks that off the channel after 30 days, whatever it is. But twitch.tv/thattellestguy is the only place that you can chat with us live, that you can earn quest coins, and you can bring those quest coins into your watches of our Quantum Quest live sessions that we do on Thursdays every other week. And you can use those coins to queue up for a future game. And we've got, if we get 13 more followers, we unlock a new mode for Quantum Quest Live where you would be able to use some of your coins to maybe give a little bit of mana to your favorite player. So we have all kinds of cool little ideas in mind for those live events. And it's our opportunity to let some of our Team Tellest and our affiliates kind of show off a little bit, talk about their projects. So it's a way of giving back while still having fun with something that we built. Well, anyway, that is going to do it for today. No Quantum Quest Live this week. We're back next week on the first Thursday. Well, Thursday the 1st of August, and we'll see you then. There's nothing really that I'm going to play, I think, on streams, so I'm just going to take it easy over the next couple of days, maybe do some map stuff on the sly so that you can't see it, but we will be back with the most likely the Furnace River Bridge whatever map that we were briefly looking at a couple of weeks ago, and we'll see what magic we can do there. But in the meantime, I miss you.